So I got another video on the discussion as to why blacks do not support black-owned businesses. Kind of breaking it down a little bit more. Let's see what they're talking about. You all know how I feel about it. Obviously, I am the biggest supporter of black entrepreneurship that you all will probably know. And that's what Black Primacy is all about. And if you know a bigger supporter, please let me know and tag them, right? Or send them my way. I would like to have many discussions with people who are bigger supporters than me, right? But in either event, let's get into it. Let's see why blacks don't support black-owned businesses. All right, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.
Plus, I'm Tatiana LaJoy. Black-owned businesses are unprofessional. Many people in the Black community have either said or thought this at one point or another. This statement stems from various experiences that ultimately lead to them spitefully banning Black-owned businesses from their shopping, date night outings, or self-care expenditures. In 2021, the growth in Black spending power reached $1.6 trillion, which doubled since the year before, yet our wealth has fallen by 14%. This means that 99% of our buying power is spent outside of our community. These statistics imply that Black people know how to make money, but we do not know how to keep it. The Black dollar stays in our community for 6 hours, while it stays in the Asian community for 28 days.
Well, it's actually a couple of things. For one, we could seem that we're rude and it's not all about good customer service.
That's a problem. Why am I spending my money with you and you're too sensitive to even take the criticism necessary needed?
Is that they're so expensive, which I can understand. Certain people or certain places, they kind of hit you over at a price.
Hating. That's all I can think of is hating, just because of the fact that they see one person doing their thing, it's hard for them to congratulate them.
There has to be a reason why Black-owned are the only businesses that are blackballed by their own community. You don't see this sort of attitude in other ethnic communities. Could it be because of systemic oppression, personal irresponsibility, deep-rooted psychology, or is it all of the above? Here's why.
If I had to guess, I would say deep-rooted psychology. We have been conditioned not only to hate ourselves, but to measure ourselves up against other cultures and other ways of doing things, especially here in the United States, right? And that's fine to a certain degree, right? Like, just from a human being perspective, like, you see someone doing something how you believe is the correct way of doing something, then you look at that and you try and emulate that. But like this whole idea, which I've said on this channel before, of like the American dream, right? Why is that why is that like a dream? Why does that have to be a dream across the board? Like, and I feel like that dream was catered to, created for a specific ethnic group, and that's not Black folks, right? But yet we look and strive for that American dream, and then when we believe we have it, we realize it ain't really all that, right? And so that's just one example of kind of how we are trying. We look to try and fit our culture and our ways of thinking and ways of doing things into the same process, the same ways of doing things as other cultures. And so flipping that around a little bit, that's how black customers will walk into a Asian establishment or a white establishment and take those same things that they are doing for their customers, which 9 times out of 10 aren't Black anyway, and going back to a Black business and wanting that same exact energy. Even though when they walk into these other establishments, they're not getting any better treatment. In a lot of cases, they're getting worse treatment. It's just not as outward, right? Which I've shared on this channel a lot as well, in terms of like how we all know there's no reason, that's why I don't understand why people hate so much against Black owned businesses or don't even want to try to support, because we all know when you walk into, and I've said it before, when you walk into that hair, beauty supply store, right, or the liquor store, or whatever corner store you got, right, we're always treated terribly when we walk in, but it don't stop us from walking in there, right? But you have one bad experience with one Black owned business and you shut them all out. That just, to me, it just makes no sense. It makes no sense outside of, like I said at the beginning, psychology. We're conditioned to hate ourselves, and we're conditioned to give ourselves an unfair and unrealistic way of rating or reviewing, or we measure, we give ourselves no grace when it comes to measuring up at all. Psychology, conditioning.
Why Black people don't support Black-owned businesses. A common frustration among many African Americans is our constant appropriation of our culture. We are so proud of our culture because of everything it represents: strength, vitality, perseverance, and flavor. There is no denying that Black is beautiful. But if we truly believe this, why do we not profit on our culture as much as other races do? One reason for this is because we lack trust within our community. According to supportblackowned.com, there are even Black business owners that choose to not support Black businesses. When asked why, they answer that Black-owned businesses are unprofessional and no others besides theirs should be supported. But where does this unprofessional stereotype come from? Let's start from the bottom and determine what it takes to start a business. It takes a lot of effort to start a business, and it begins with market research. Market research involves gathering data to learn about target audiences so that a business owner can determine factors such as the demand, market size, and market saturation. Knowing these things can help a business develop a strong foundation so they can have growth and longevity. After that work is done, a business plan needs to be made, which is based on all of the market research that has been done. This plan can either be traditional, which is usually dozens of pages long, or a lean startup, which is typically about a page long. Next is figuring out the best way to fund your business by first determining how much you will need and figuring out which is the best method to get that money, whether that be through bank loan, crowdfunding, or investors. Depending on what kind of business you have, the next steps vary and include choosing a business name, structure, and location, and registering your business. This is the bare minimum to start a successful business, yet many Black businesses do not invest the time to establish a strong foundation for their company. One of the biggest complaints is that Black businesses are hard to find. This is a clear indicator that most of these businesses do not take enough time to do market research or organize their finances to allow for advertising budget. Advertising is important for businesses.
Quick note, you all know we have an app in the App Store. It's being updated as we speak, and hopefully will be released in the next couple of weeks. But it will be so that we can find and support Black-owned businesses nearby, and I will guarantee that you will be able to find at least one business to support, regardless of where you are in the United States, right? And eventually where you are in the world. But we'll get there when we get there. So that is coming to help solve just what she discussed there. All right, I'll make sure I had to drop that in there, a little free advertising for the app.
Is because it drives growth by targeting the right audiences and attracting paying customers. Getting customers is important, but keeping them is crucial. We live in a time where there is an abundance of small businesses and it's very competitive. Creating customer loyalty is the key to continued profitability for any successful business, and the best way to create customer loyalty is to have great customer service. This might be the biggest culprit of unsuccessful Black-owned businesses. Many customers complain about unprofessionalism, with stores being closed during business hours, business owners or employees with bad attitudes, and unapologetic bad service. Most Black people want to support Black businesses, but don't want to deal with the headache. At the end of the day, bad business is bad business, no matter where it's coming from. YouTube user at Natural Life wrote, I desperately want to support Black businesses, but I can't. Case in point, I live in Metro Atlanta. There are Asian nail shops and Black-owned shops. I've gone to Asians mostly, but now I refuse to give them a dime of my money. I tried going to Black-owned, but they have no clue how to run a business. I go to an Asian shop. I'm in and out in an hour or less. Black-owned, I was in there 3.5 hours. Asians smile at me and ask, what color you like? Black-owned roll their eyes and acted like I was bothering them. Very rude, gossiping with each other, cursing, etc. I just do my own nails now. I miss the Asian shop, but refuse. We do not understand how to run a business, many of us. Always running out of supplies, etc. My money is valuable to me. Treat me with respect and do a timely good service, and I will support your Black-owned business. This is not to bash our people.
I think I agree a lot with what she said, or I don't want to say agree a lot. I think I like what she said because her experience with other groups were bad, and she kept that same energy. So I have no problem with that. Right? If my biggest problem with people who claim that they do not want to support Black-owned business for several different businesses for several different reasons, is, like I've said, because they'll turn around, like in most cases in that lady's situation, they'll say, oh, I tried to go to a Black-owned nail shop, but they were rude and this and that. But then they go to the Asian-owned nail shop and they're being, talked about in another language. The people there aren't really that friendly, or the service is less than adequate, but then they keep going there, but like she did, she cut everybody off. Like, I'm not having a good experience, overall, with any nail shop. So I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. To me, it seemed a little anecdotal, though. She try other Black-owned shops. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Not enough information on that paragraph, but either way, if the service is bad, regardless, then they don't need to get a dime of your money. Just a point blank, period.
But more so to take ownership of what is lacking and how it can be improved. Black company owners have a tendency to put minimal effort into their company and expect to be treated like businesses that do put the effort in. In this era where being woke is very prominent, many Black-owned businesses will rely on being Black-owned as the main reason why they should be supported. When they aren't supported, defense is the first reaction when it should be an opportunity for introspection and growth. But let's also talk about the Black-owned businesses that have done the work. They know their target audience, they spend money on advertisement, and they have a solid business plan. But some of these businesses suffer based on the bad stereotypes created by the less successful Black-owned businesses. There are two theories that may explain this. One is the crabs in a barrel mentality that our community unfortunately adheres to. The Black community simply has more haters than other communities, and that's why there are no Black communities like Chinatown, Little Italy, or Little Russia. The reason being is most Black people come from poverty-stricken backgrounds and tend to glorify hood attributes, being gangsta, hard, etc. If you are an individual that wants to rise above the stereotype, most Black people will tear you down or ridicule you. There's many cases of Black parents being jealous of their own children. It hurts people to see others succeed because it shines a light on their own insecurities. They'll say things like, you think you're better than me if you happen to be doing better than them because you worked for it. It's a slave mentality passed down through generations, epigenetics. Another theory is generational trauma. In his 1952 semi-autobiographical novel, Go Tell It on the Mountain, famous African-American author James Baldwin asked, could a curse come down so many ages? Did it live in time or in the moment? The trauma of slavery has been carried on throughout generations of African Americans and is manifested through poor health and poverty. We are aware of the residual effects of slavery that we see in our community. A more recent example of generational trauma would be the riot of Tulsa's Greenwood District. In 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma's Black Wall Street was one of the most successful African-American communities in the United States. However, on May 31st, 1921, an African-American man named Dick Rowland was accused of attempting to rape a white woman named Sarah Page. The white community did not want to wait for the investigation to happen and instead took matters into into their own hands by lighting 35 blocks on fire, injuring 800 people and killing 300. This tragedy resulted in 9,000 Black people becoming homeless and destroying a community with a remarkable school system, indoor plumbing, banks, hotels, and contemporary homes. The state of Oklahoma had only 2 airports, yet 6 Black families owned their own planes. The average income of African Americans in that community exceeded what minimum wage is today. Caucasians didn't realize that their segregation actually empowered us as a community. Since we were no longer able to shop at white establishments, the Black dollar circulated in our own community and Black businesses flourished. Josie Pickens records in an Ebony article that lower-class white people in neighboring areas were undoubtedly jealous of this affluent Black community and felt the need to put progressive, high-achieving African Americans in their place. The financial power afforded to the Black community could not save them from the racial hostility at the time. Whites resented the fact that Blacks no longer passively accepted second-class citizenship in what they perceived as their land. The district newspaper would call the Black community things like Little Africa and In-Town. They labeled them as bad ends who drank booze, took dope, and ran around with guns. They created a narrative that the Black community was predisposed to crime and was in need of social control. This narrative helped them justify their actions of deadly violence towards the Black community under a shield of reprimand. The newspaper even suggested that the KKK could help restore order in the community, which in fact, the agency behind their order was to suppress the power that they felt the Black community did not deserve. Portraying Blacks as criminals helped enforce a violent racist ideology. Following the riot, the mayor planned to redesign the community for industrial purposes. Essentially, it was a geographical problem because the government viewed that area as an ideal location for business expansion, so they brought down land prices and established white dominance in the area. Hannibal Johnson, author of The Black Wall Street, From Riot to Renaissance in Tulsa's historic Greenwood District, explains that neither the survivors nor their families ever received the reparations suggested by the Tulsa Race Riot Commission. In an interview on The Breakfast Club, founder and CEO of the Wealth Factory, Angel Smith, expresses how we have been robbed of our reparations. Blacks were defeated during this time to know that their beloved community was so fragile and their perceived power seemed fickle compared to that of the elite and lower class whites. Essentially, the Black community was deboned by the white community, and that trauma still lives today. Is this why Black businesses don't have a strong infrastructure today? Is there an inherent fear that any success we have can and will be taken away by envious people with more power? It wasn't just Tulsa. Race massacres also devastated communities in Georgia, Arkansas, Michigan, Mississippi, and Florida, just to name a few. As Martin Luther King put it, when Negroes assertively moved on to ascend the second rung of the ladder, a firm resistance from the white community developed. The Black dollar circulating within our own community was a threat back then, and systems were put in place and narratives were spread to prevent it from happening again. That oppression.
That is still today, by the way, with just with the basic fact that anytime there is something that is created and pushed to help move the Black community in a particular positive direction, it is met with some legal pushback anytime, right? I expect to see that happen with Black primacy at some point in the near future as we grow, but we'll get through it either way. We'll get through it, around it, whatever the case, in either event. But that is my biggest concern with trying to help push the community to do better, is that there is a bigger, more powerful community that is against us and waiting for the opportunity to push us down at any moment. And so y'all rock with us. We'll see what happens. But that was a very spot on comment.
Is still relevant today and lives in our subconscious as a community. It's shocking how many people are unaware of the traumatic past of African Americans. This trauma is intergenerational and once realized can help combat the toxic patterns that we see in our community today, such as the crabs in a barrel mentality. As Jay-Z once said, Crabs in a barrel, but crabs don't belong in the barrel. And they ain't never tell us that. So in the barrel, we gonna act like we act. We can easily get out of the barrel if we stand on each other's back. Whoever gets on top, as long as they stay attached, they're gonna pull everybody out. I was doing just that. According to Angel Rich's research, it's going to take at least 250 years for us to catch up with our counterparts if we do not practice group economics. This is why it's so important to educate our people, especially our youth, on the importance of group economics to help close the wealth gap. Angel owns an app called Credit Rich to help people round up their spare change and intelligently optimize their credit score as fast as possible. There's also a directory called blackbusinessgreenbook.com where consumers can find Black-owned brands from home goods to clothing and art, photography, and food. Black Nation is another app that can be used as a resource to find Black-owned businesses wherever you are. These are just a few resources that can help keep our money within our community and make us stronger for generations to come. If we really want change, let's start by taking some of the actions mentioned throughout this video. Let us know in the comments below what you think the reason is that Black people don't support Black businesses, and also shout out some amazing Black-owned businesses in your area that you would like to support. Stay up to date with the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to our YouTube channel. Follow Comedy Hype across all social media and look out for original content on our new streaming service at comedyhype.com. For Hype Plus, I'm Tatiana LaJoy.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I like how she broke it down. I think the biggest thing affecting us right now, at least from what I see when having, seeing certain comments on YouTube and having some dialogue with some of the YouTube commenters, is that it's these stereotypes, these bad stereotypes that have plagued the just the entire community of Black entrepreneurs and businesses. There's times like even so I run ads and on some of the products that are sold on the Black Primacy website, and I've gotten comments from people who've never even purchased from the brand that just and they're Black, of course, and they come on and they're just hating without ever even had an experience, right? I just recently got a comment where someone was like, "Oh, I'll never purchase from companies like this," and something about fake or cheap Chinese products and all this, and I'm just like, you've never even purchased. You've never, and we sell T-shirts, hoodies, and sweatshirts. They're manufactured right here in the United States, and you like, where are you getting this? You've never purchased. You've never purchased. So you come on, you drop a comment. When people see that, it's kind of frustrating too, because like when people see that comment, it comes off as this is a customer that is upset, but it's not someone who ever purchased. Right. So just with that, there's probably tons of people that came on, saw that comment and then dipped off, never even went to the website just because of this hater, who decided to come on and voice their hate on a business they've never even purchased from. Right. And so, it's those types of things. There's a lot of people like that throughout the community. I know people, specifically people that are even closer to me, that, they say they don't ever want to do business with Blacks. People who have talked me out of building, or tried to talk me out of building the directory specifically for African Americans, right? And these are Black folks that are doing this, right? So there's a lot of us in the community that just have zero faith, and it's partly due, I would say, to having bad experiences, but I just feel, like I said before, I just feel like it's like when when we walk into a black owned business, we automatically, our guard is up and we're looking for reasons to have a problem. Right. I had another customer for the holidays was wanting their order ASAP, as soon as possible. They claim that they paid for expedited shipping, but not realizing that, I mean, as the owner of the company, I'm telling them I don't offer that. That's not even in the system. But customer's always right. I just left that part alone. But at the end of the discussion, I apologized, let them know, like, hey, we did everything we could to get it there. At the end of the discussion, he mentioned something about always wanting to support black-owned businesses, but his customer service through this process was less than adequate, simply because, and again, we take full responsibility from cradle to grave once you order something, but we shipped the item out as soon as possible within a reasonable time. And the delay came from the shipping partner. I think we use UPS for that one. And so, not to point the blame or point the finger, but it's like, we did the best that we could. And instead of, I understand, be upset that it's not coming, if you're looking for some sort of, recourse, then let's talk about that, but don't turn it into this is a black owned business thing. This has nothing to do with being a black owned business. It's during the holidays, things happen, we take responsibility for it, but the delay didn't even come from a black owned business. It came from UPS. Didn't mention anything about UPS. Just strictly mad at us for not being able to deliver their order when we are not the delivery service. We provide the product and the delivery service. We rely on the delivery service to get it there on time, which they did not. Again, we take responsibility for that, but it's just, I feel like that same customer, if they would have purchased something from Nike, or if they would have purchased something from, I don't know, Louis Vuitton or one of these other non-black brands, bigger brands, then they would have, they may not have even sent the email. They just would have chalked it up, or they would have went to UPS and complained at UPS. But because it's black owned, they gotta, you know what I mean? That's just my thought. But and I got millions of examples of people that they just seem to be looking for a reason to break and pull black owned businesses down, and don't keep that same energy when it comes to other businesses from other groups, and it's sad, but it definitely goes back to this bad stereotypes. The bad stereotypes is definitely not helping. And so, that's part of the bigger goal at Black Primacy, is to shine light on just how good we actually are and how good we can be. We just have to, as businesses, and it's not all on customers. As businesses, we do need to do better at putting customer service first, and not treating as much as we feel like family with our customers when they walk in. Right, we have to treat customers like customers and not like family, because when we get into that whole family mentality, that's when customers may feel like we're being rude or non-attentive, because this is just a homie relationship. Like, this is just like you the homie and I'm just helping you out, so I don't need to be like all into the details, all into the weed of things. Well, that shouldn't be the case. As much as we want to, that shouldn't be the case, because what it reflects is a sense of us not caring. We should not be having attitudes. I can't say I have experience what one of the ladies was saying at the beginning of the video, where you walk into an establishment, and this is not just with black owned businesses, by the way. This is with all businesses, where you walk into an establishment and it's like, it's like, wait a minute, I'm here I don't need to buy from here. I don't need to buy from you. There's a million other places I can go. So, if I'm not getting the service that I believe I should get, then I'm just going to go to the next business. Not a problem. And so we need to make sure that we keep that in the forefront of our mind when we're dealing with customers. I would say, lastly, my experience, this is from entrepreneur to entrepreneurs out there, my experience with putting the customer first has paid off way, 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 way more than trying to fight at every nick and cranny of a situation with a customer. Like I mentioned with that customer that I had not too long ago, that swore that we had expedited shipping on the website. You're talking to someone who designed the entire website and designed the entire system of order processing and everything. There's not expedited shipping, but I'm not going to argue with you. Okay, I apologize. We'll get someone out there to look at the system and make sure there's not any inconsistencies, right? You say all that type of stuff. Back in my head, I'm like, this person is clearly confused as to who they shopped with. But that's part of just the customer service, right? I could have been arguing with that person back and forth, and then they would have came back and left a bad review or something, right? Or demanded a refund or something, but nope. Just, sometimes it's the customer just going to have to be right. And take the reviews, take the complaints, take that into consideration with what you can kind of focus on changing, right? Just like there's no such thing as a perfect person, there's no such thing as a perfect business. Things happen, right? So, this was good though. This was a good video. I hope y'all stuck with me all the way through to the end. I will continue to be sharing this type of stuff. And also look out for, they mentioned some apps here at the end. Make sure you all look out for our app. It's going to be the best. It already is the best in my opinion, but it's going to be even better. And you'll see. You'll see. Just stay tapped in. I'll definitely be doing an announcement on that. All right. But y'all let me know what y'all think. All right. It's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.